Once upon a time, in a distant magical kingdom, there lived a princess named Elira. She was not an ordinary princess. Her tears had magical powers. When she cried, the weather changed. The kingdom had never seen such a gift before. But this gift was also a curse. Because she cried very easily. Every emotion changed the sky. Happiness brought sunshine. Sadness brought storms. One day, the sky turned dark as she lost her mother. Rain poured heavily for 7 days. Rivers overflowed across the kingdom. People became afraid of the princess. They called her the Weather Witch Princess. But Elira was kind and innocent. She never wanted to hurt anyone. She just couldn't control her tears. Her father, the king, was very worried. He locked her inside the castle tower. "You must not cry anymore," he said sadly. Elira felt lonely in the tower. She looked at the sky every day. Birds stopped visiting her window. The wind no longer whispered to her. She felt abandoned. And slowly, she stopped talking. But her heart was full of pain. One night, thunder struck violently. The kingdom shook with fear. Elira was crying silently in her room. Her tears fell like shining crystals. Suddenly, lightning formed in the sky. The clouds moved according to her emotions. She realized her power was growing stronger. "Why am I like this?" she cried. And a hurricane began outside. Guards rushed to the tower. But they could not reach her. The storm blocked everything. In the deep forest lived an old wise woman. She knew about Elira's power. She said, "Only love can calm her heart." The king sent messengers to find help. But no one dared to enter the storm. The kingdom was slowly dying. Crops were destroyed. Villages were flooded. People were starving. Fear spread everywhere. One brave boy named Kale stepped forward. He was a simple farmer's son. But he believed the princess was not evil. He entered the storm alone. Rain hit his face like needles. Wind pushed him back again and again. But he did not stop. "I must reach her," he said. Thunder roared above him. Lightning struck trees around him. Still he walked forward. Finally, he reached the castle gate. Guards tried to stop him. But he shouted, "She needs help, not fear." Something in his words touched them. They let him pass. He climbed the tower steps. Each step felt heavier. The storm grew stronger. But he continued. At last, he reached Elira's room. She was sitting on the floor crying. The sky outside was completely black. Kale slowly walked inside. "Please stop crying," he said softly. Elira looked at him in shock. No one had entered her room before. "Who are you?" she asked. "I came to help you," he replied. She shook her head. "Everyone fears me," she whispered. "I destroy everything I touch." Kale smiled gently. "You are not destruction," he said. "You are just hurting." His words made her cry more. The storm outside grew stronger. But Kale did not move away. He stayed beside her. "It's okay to cry," he said. Slowly, Elira began to calm down. The wind started to slow. Thunder became softer. Kale told her stories of the village. He told her how flowers missed sunshine. He told her how children still believed in hope. Elira listened quietly. For the first time, she felt understood. Her tears changed into soft rain. The storm began to fade. But suddenly, a dark force appeared in the sky. An evil cloud spirit had awakened. It fed on Elira's emotions. It wanted to control her power. The sky turned blood red. Kale stood in front of Elira. "I will protect you," he said. Elira felt something strange in her heart. A warmth she had never felt before. The storm spirit attacked. Lightning struck the tower walls. Elira screamed in fear. The storm grew out of control. Kale held her hand. "Focus on something happy," he said. She closed her eyes. She remembered her mother's smile. She remembered sunshine in the gardens. She remembered laughter in the palace. Slowly, light began to return. The dark clouds started break. The storm spirit roared angrily. Elira's tears turned golden. The sky began to shine. Kale smiled. "You are stronger than your sadness," he said. Elira opened her eyes. The storm spirit was weakening. She stood up slowly. Power flowed through her gently now. "I am not my sadness," she said. The sky responded to her words. Clouds started disappearing. Rain turned into soft mist. Light filled the kingdom again. The storm spirit screamed and vanished. Peace returned slowly. Elira collapsed, exhausted. Kale caught her. The kingdom became silent. For the first time in years, the sun returned. Birds started singing again. Flowers bloomed across the land. People looked at the sky in shock. The curse was gone. Elira had changed the weather with love. Not with pain anymore. The king rushed to the tower. He saw his daughter safe. Tears filled his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said. Elira smiled weakly. "I understand now," she said. Kale stood beside her. The king bowed his head. "You saved the kingdom," he said. Elira finally felt free. The sky stayed calm. No more storms came. Her powers were now under control. But her heart was still healing. Kale became her friend. He visited her every day. They laughed together. Slowly, she learned happiness again. And the weather stayed peaceful. The kingdom rebuilt itself. Hope returned everywhere. Elira was no longer feared. She was loved. The crying princess became the healing queen of weather. Her tears now brought balance, not destruction. She ruled with kindness. And the skies always listened to her heart. Kale remained her closest companion. The kingdom prospered again. And peace stayed forever. Because love healed what fear destroyed. And the sky finally smiled with her. After peace returned, Elira stood on the castle balcony. The wind was calm for the first time in years. She closed her eyes and felt the gentle breeze. Kale stood beside her silently. The kingdom was rebuilding slowly. But Elira still feared her power. "What if I lose control again?" she asked. Kale looked at her kindly. "Then I will help you again," he said. His words gave her comfort. Days passed and Elira learned to control her emotions. She practiced smiling without changing the weather. She practiced crying without storms. It was very difficult at first. But Kale stayed with her always. Slowly, she improved. The sky began to respond gently. No more disasters followed her tears. The kingdom started trusting her again. Hope returned everywhere. One day, a celebration was held in the kingdom. Flowers decorated every street. People gathered in the royal square. They wanted to honor Princess Elira. The king announced her as guardian of weather. Elira felt emotional hearing this. Her eyes filled with tears. But she held them back. The sky remained calm. She smiled with relief. Kale clapped happily in the crowd. Elira looked at him and smiled back. For the first time, she felt accepted. Not feared, but loved. Suddenly, a soft golden light appeared in the sky. Clouds formed a beautiful heart shape. Everyone looked up in surprise. "The sky is blessing her," people whispered. Elira looked up with tears of joy. This time, nothing broke. But far away, a dark shadow watched them. The storm spirit was not fully gone. It had survived in silence. It waited for Elira's weakness. Days later, Elira became tired and lonely again. Kale had to leave for his village. Elira felt sadness return. Slowly, clouds began forming again. Rain started falling. She tried to control it but failed. The storm spirit returned stronger than before. It whispered inside her mind. "You belong to me," it said. Elira screamed in fear. Thunder exploded across the sky. The kingdom shook again. People ran. In panic, Elira fell to her knees. "I don't want this power," she cried. Storms grew violent. Kale heard about the disaster immediately. He rushed back to the castle. He fought through wind and rain. "Elira, I'm coming," he shouted. Lightning struck everywhere. But he did not stop. He reached the tower again. Elira was crying uncontrollably. The storm spirit surrounded her. "Leave her alone," Kale shouted. The spirit laughed loudly. "She is mine," it said. Kale ran toward Elira. He grabbed her hands tightly. "Listen to me," he said. "You are stronger than this darkness." Elira shook with fear. "I can't control it," she cried. Kale placed his forehead against hers. "Then I will believe for you," he said. Suddenly, something changed. Elira felt warmth inside her heart. Memories of happiness returned. The storm spirit screamed angrily. Light began shining through the clouds. Elira slowly stood up. "I am not your tool," she shouted. The sky trembled. Her power began to change. Darkness started breaking apart. The storm spirit tried to attack again. But Elira raised her hands. "I control my emotions," she cried. A massive light exploded in the sky. The spirit shattered into dust. The storm disappeared instantly. Rain turned into soft glowing mist. The kingdom became peaceful again. Elira collapsed into Kale's arms. The battle was finally over. The sky turned bright blue forever. No darkness returned again. Elira's power became stable and gentle. She learned full control of her emotions. The kingdom celebrated her courage. She was no longer the crying princess. She became the Sky Queen. Kale stood proudly beside her. The king accepted her transformation. Peace ruled the land forever. Elira smiled every day now. Her tears became rare and peaceful rain. Crops grew stronger than ever. The people lived happily again. Children told stories of her bravery. She was remembered as a legend. The girl who controlled the weather with her heart. And defeated darkness with love. The sky always reflected her soul. And her story lived forever.